You have to stop talking because I will never film a podcast episode with you ever again.
That's what you said with Civil War and Endgame, but here we are, all right?
Yeah, and it's like
two episodes later.
This ranking might be the end of us, Noah. Wow.
Look,
I don't even know what to argue right now because you've never been more wrong in your entire life.
welcome back to the Podracer podcast.
I'm Jordyn and that's Noah.
That's right, and boy, oh boy, episode 6 is here.
Dude, we're getting there. We're just grinding, man. We're grinding.
We're doing it, son. I freaking love it.
It's so fun.
It's so fun every time, every week. We always get together, and man, we're doing it and having so much fun doing it too. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you to everybody that's been watching, listening, commenting, liking. We're slowly but surely building this tiny audience, and it's only gonna get better and bigger. And I just can't wait. I love it. So thank you to everybody who's here.
Yeah.
Love it.
The audience that's with us right now, we appreciate you. And for first-time listeners or first-time watchers, hello.
Hello.
Hello. We got a fun show for y'all tonight.
Absolutely.
Let's start off with weekly recap. Sutton, you wanna start off? How was your week?
Yeah, weekly rewind. So Jasenia and I, whatever. You don't even know our own segment.
That's okay.
My wife and I, Jasenia, we are currently watching the MCU in chronological order. We started beginning of this year, maybe end of last year. I don't totally remember when we started, but we've been watching chronological order from start to finish. And just this past weekend, we watched both Infinity War and Endgame together in the same day.
What
and
movies?
It was just such great movies.
You didn't make her wait a year like all of us had to do with Endgame? No. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do that to my kids. You know what's funny too is
she actually made that joke too, because we finished the first one and she's like, when did the next one come out? Like after this one, I was like, well, this one came out 2018, that one came out 2019. She's like, okay, we gotta wait a year. I was like, no, we're turning this on like right now.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so we watched that. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun. I'm realizing this was my first time rewatching Infinity War in like years.
Wow.
It's a great movie, definitely. It's top 2 in my MCU ranking. But yeah, it was like I did not remember how like impactful that movie was, so it was so fun rewatching it, kind of knowing what I know already about the MCU.
Right.
I sobbed the entire thing. I think every 5 minutes I had a cry break, and then I just went immediately back to crying.
It's hard not to.
But you know me, I'm a big softie.
My gosh, you cry at every movie. We can't
Everything.
We can't even watch like anything normal without like Jordan like tearing up. I'm like, why are you crying in this? You're like, I don't know. Like you don't even know sometimes.
I get so emotionally invested into everything I watch, which is why like anytime I watch something, I have to like go see it again, because the first time I watch it, it's just such a great like emotionally like impactful movie to me. And so when I rewatch it, then I'm like, oh, that was a bad movie.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me sometimes, but I just love movies. I love characters. I love character development. I love relationships. I just get drawn in, and I feel like that's exactly what you're supposed to do when you make a movie. Mm-hmm. So they succeed with me 9 times out of 10. But yeah, that was just a really fun thing to do with my wife this weekend.
And dude, I feel like Infinity War and Endgame has become like to that same par of watching like A New Hope and Empire right after each other. Like to me at least, like it's like I can't watch A New Hope without wanting to watch Empire afterwards. Same thing with Infinity War. I can't watch it without wanting to watch Endgame. So
yeah, it was fun. It was the first time I ever double featured it like that.
That's a long time.
Yeah, Jasenia's not a big like movie watcher like that. Like she gets really tired after like watching stuff for a long time, so I was really proud of her for getting through both those movies. And she surprisingly like didn't love Infinity War as much as like most people do.
Really?
Yeah, her MCU ranking is very interesting. If you don't have Letterboxd, I highly recommend you get the app.
Go check out Jordan's letterbox. It's in the description. Go check
I've
it
been
out.
having a lot of fun with it.
Oh, I bet.
I've been like playing with this app for a couple weeks now. I've been having so much fun, but we do have I do have an in progress MCU ranking for myself and my wife.
Oh.
Go look at her MCU ranking. It's kind of wild to me.
Oh man.
Do you want to hear something?
Throw it out.
Her fourth favorite movie as of right now, mind you, we just watched Endgame as the last
Okay.
movie we watched. Her fourth favorite movie is Iron Man 2.
Wow. I don't even think
Yeah.
that cracks the top 10 for me. That's insane.
No, me neither.
Number 4? Number 4.
I know. She thinks it's better than Infinity War.
What?
She thinks it's better than the
man.
first Iron Man. I'm going to get in trouble for... I'm talking shit right now, but I'm going to get roasted after I finish this episode. Yeah, no.
Oh.
But yeah, go follow me on Letterboxd. I follow every single person back.
do it.
Noah, you need to get Letterboxd. It's such a fun app.
I've
But
looked at
I
a
also
lot
have
of
a
Letterboxd.
Podracer podcast.
Ooh.
You what?
I've looked at a couple Letterboxd. I've looked into it. I've seen how it is. It's just the thing with me. I want to talk and rank all the other movies I've watched, but there's so many movies I've watched. I know I'm just missing so many.
Yeah, no, I wanted to do the same thing. Like when you first download the app, it kind of just opens up. It's almost like Tinder where it's movies and you're just swiping and you're hitting the like button or whatever. I was going through that and I was like, okay, I've seen that. I haven't seen this. And I was like, I'll be stuck here for hours because I have no idea how many movies I've actually seen in my lifetime and how many I haven't. A lot of them, it's like, can I even give a proper rating on this because I haven't seen it in 10 million years?
Exactly.
So I just kind of started with the movies I've seen. So the first entry I have for a review is Deadpool and Wolverine. And then the movies I've watched since then, I'm adding in there and then making my list and things. But I just kind of had to accept that I'm not going to be able to figure out every movie I've watched.
Yeah.
So just from here on out, that's what I'm reviewing on Letterboxd. And I did add to my watch list. So we talked, I think it was either last episode or the episode before, about me making a homework list for myself on all the things I haven't seen.
So much to catch up on. You got a lot of homework, and man, oh man.
I think I added 170 movies to my watch list of things I need to watch, and that was just franchises. So it was Planet of the Apes, Indiana Jones, Pirates, Mission Impossible movies, all the things I haven't seen.
You haven't watched the Mission Impossible movies?
No, I've literally never seen a single Mission Impossible.
Wow.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So my watch list is half things I've for sure never seen, or things I've seen but I haven't seen in years, and they're the more bigger franchises. So
right.
That's what my watch list consists of. So I'm gonna start busting through that.
Nice.
And
nice.
Reviewing them on Letterboxd. So follow me on Letterboxd. Noah, you should get Letterboxd.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. Anyways, how was your week?
My week was fun. It was a fun week. I guess.
Okay.
Work is work. Blah blah blah. We don't need to talk about that.
Blah blah blah.
But a really fun highlight: the premiere of Only Murders in the Building season 4 is finally here, and that's another show.
That's a Selena Gomez show, right?
Yeah, that's Selena Gomez, Martin Short, Steve Martin. I love Martin Short and Steve Martin so much, and obviously I love Selena Gomez. So every single season that they've done, and they're now on their 4th, they've just been upping and upping and upping their game, their cast, everything. Season 3 alone had Meryl Streep, Paul Rudd, so many other people.
Ooh.
Killer.
Love me some Paul Rudd.
I know you do. You'll love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the season 4 premiere dropped, and we got Zachary Levi. We have Eva Longoria. Zach Galifianakis is in it. Dude, it's amazing. Yeah. Gosh, it's so good.
Okay.
And we're only on the first episode now, but dude, it's every single, and I say it all the time, every single episode of that show, you're I need to watch the next one right now. And they've done that since season 1. So the fact that they've even been able to keep up with that for so long just tells how good this show really is. And it deserves more recognition, 100%. is so good.
No, I literally have never heard anything about the show except the things you've told me. So you make me want to watch it. Like I feel like
you need
it
to watch
definitely isn't marketed as much.
For some reason it's not as like marketed, only because I think that at the time when it came out, like a whole bunch of Marvel and Star Wars was being pushed. So like, and it's on Hulu, Disney Plus. So like, obviously it's probably gonna get ignored. But
yeah, Hulu is kind of an inferior streaming service.
I love
right now.
Hulu to death. So like,
I did too. They're all good.
Yeah. But dude, watch Only Murders in the Building. I freaking love that show so much. I could talk hours for it. If you like true crime stuff, especially true crime podcasts, the show is literally about all three, Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez, they live in the same building, and they pretty much make a true crime podcast because they all like that.
Okay.
And obviously a murder happens in their building, so they decide to solve it by making a podcast. And it is hilarious. So funny.
Dang. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that. That sounds like a good show.
I think in the first and second season, Tina Fey is in it. Like, come on, dude. Cast is great. The writers are great. Steve Martin and Martin Short. Holy cow. They've been the best, like, I think, duo in, like, Hollywood or, like, comedy Hollywood forever. And they just steal this show. And I can tell that they're having a freaking blast with this.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a lot of fun.
And
so I'll
like you
definitely
could just tell that like the chemistry is like just so good with everybody.
Yeah.
That it just seems like such a fun like show to like not even like work on, but then should just like watch back. Because I've watched like the first 3 seasons back, and I'm like, dude, this show's amazing. It's so good.
For sure. Yeah. Just to circle back to my weekly rewind, Jasenia just texted me in all caps, "Fight me." I told you I was gonna get in trouble.
Oh my gosh. Iron Man 2.
Yeah, no, her list is crazy,
Infinity
but
War. Wow, that might be the wildest take of the year, and we're almost done with it. So like that's
no, we got to get her on the pod eventually to talk her takes.
Yeah, I got to be like, what was about Iron Man 2 that made you love it so much? All right, son, I got some news.
Let's hear it.
First off, we got to talk about a big elephant in the room that just like came out this past week. James Spader is coming back to voice Ultron in the Vision series.
Heck yeah. Yeah. I was stoked when I saw this online.
Let's go!
Age of Ultron is such an underrated movie. And
100%.
Ultron, I've heard, I'm not a big comic book person. I've heard he doesn't live up to how he is in the comics.
No.
But I loved him as a villain in Age of Ultron. Very underrated movie. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited to see this.
Man. And it has been changed, so it's no longer called Vision Quest, which was the original title from when it was announced like almost 2 years ago now. It is now just called the Vision series. I don't know if it's going to be called like Vision, just plain Vision. It might be called Vision Wanda for all we know. Who knows what it's going to be called? But
WandaVision, Vision Wanda.
Yeah, who knows?
Do we think Wanda will be in this? Because last we saw her...
1,000%.
In Multiverse of Madness, she kind of like got crushed by a building. You know?
She did a little fairy godparents poof, and she's gonna be okay. I think because we see like her corpse, quote unquote corpse, in a trailer for Agatha All Along. So it's rumored that she's gonna come back and like maybe be like the main witch that they're trying to like find or go to, and she's just there like, hi. Who knows? So I think like we might see her return at the end of that show, and then we'll see more of her in the Vision series. Because it's going to be interesting. Like, how are we going to do Ultron coming back in this series? Because we know that Vision and Ultron, like, were, you know, they collided in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
So do you think, like, any part of Ultron's consciousness is now in the new white Vision that's now been artificially, like, remade by Sword? Like, who knows? Maybe.
I'm sure he's probably just gonna get rebooted some way because of this new Vision, and yeah, it's gonna be a mess. But I'm super excited. I like Vision's character a lot. I like Ultron a lot. And I'm interested to see how this all ties in with from WandaVision to Agatha All Along to the Vision series. Like, I think it's going to tie in together
100%.
all really nicely.
They're
It's
just
like
gonna
a big
blend.
mega series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so interesting to see what happens in Agatha All Along. I think that comes out next month, so we'll definitely talk about that on the pod as it comes out.
Next, we have this is a heavy rumor that has just been going around. Nothing is confirmed, but I just wanted to bring this rumor to the podcast.
Okay.
The man, the myth, the legend himself, Georgie Boy Lucas, might be coming back to help either produce or co-write Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie that hopefully gets titled Heir to the Empire. But, obviously we know nothing about it. We're not going to know anything about it until probably after Mandalorian and Grogu. But that is the big rumor on the mill today, that George Lucas is going to be slightly returning to Lucasfilms, to Star Wars, the creator is back.
That's going to piss a lot of people off.
It's going to piss so many people off, but I think some people that say, Star Wars died when Disney bought it and all that stuff, this might be the thing to shut them up. Like, Disney now brought him back. What are you going to say now? Who knows if that's actually going to happen? It might absolutely not, but who knows? That's just
say what you want about George Lucas. The dialogue he writes is, clunky, whatever you want to say. 100%. But, he gave us Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote this story. He knows Star Wars. I feel like, better than anyone. It's his story.
Yeah.
And I feel like Dave Filoni, just learned from Lucas and wanted to pull everything from George Lucas's story and stick to it as much as possible. And I agree, when Disney took it over, that's where things got rocky. But it was also the fact that, they were trying to make it their own thing. And you had... J.J. Abrams directing the first one. Then you had Rian Johnson directing The Last Jedi, and it was shit. And then J.J. Abrams comes back, and he's trying to fix the mess of The Last Jedi and makes it worse. And it's just oh man. And I think about this all the time. If Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni took over those 3 movies, peak. It'd be great.
My goodness.
You can't tell me those stories wouldn't be amazing.
They would be phenomenal, but that's all they had to do with them. That's all they had to do was just plan it out, and they didn't, and that's what made it look so bad.
Yeah, they needed to have every movie planned before producing the first movie, and it's they made a copycat of A New Hope out of Force Awakens, and then they're okay, let's kind of try to do a copycat of Empire, and it was terrible. And then 6 was just a shit show trying to fix everything. It's such a shame. It's such a damn shame.
It's such a shame.
I think Filoni taking on this movie and potentially bringing back the creator of this entire world, I just think it'll be great.
Hopefully.
So super excited for that, but we'll see. Yeah, I feel like you're right. We won't find out anything until after the Mandalorian Grogu movie.
1000%. This year is a remarkable year. It marks 60 years of probably one of the best movies that Disney has ever produced. I'm talking about the true, one and only, sorry, Emily Blunt, but there will only be one. I'm talking about Mary Poppins.
Oh, okay.
60 years of Poppins, probably my favorite Disney movie of all time. I love this movie. Dick Van Dyke, Julia Andrews.
Great movie.
Oh gosh, it is so good. I've been a fan of Mary Poppins since I was a child. My mom has a Mary Poppins tattoo. It is huge. And I just gotta bring it to the podcast and be like, dude, Mary Poppins is celebrating 60 years. If you haven't watched Mary Poppins recently or at all, what you doing? Go do it right now. You can.
It is an older movie.
It's a very old movie.
60 years.
60 years, yeah.
That came out that came out 40 years before we were born.
We weren't even
years
thought
before we were born.
of when that movie premiered.
So it's old, but it is a banger. Great soundtrack.
Oh my gosh, amazing
story.
soundtrack.
Yeah. Great characters, great
I don't know where to
cast.
start. And obviously you watch Mary Poppins, and then as soon as you're done watching that, go watch Saving Mr. Banks. It just talks more. It's a big like movie of just how the making of Mary Poppins came to be, from the book to actually putting it onto the screen. Tom Hanks plays Walt Disney. It's such a heavy, like, hearted movie, and it's just so much care for it, and man, it's good. It's just like Saving Mr. Banks and Mary Poppins are 100% like the Disney movies that I can't watch without crying at least once. And like I don't usually cry.
Don't cry to movies.
I usually don't cry in movies. But Mary Poppins and Saving Mr. Banks always gets me.
Both of them,
always, 100%. They always get me. They're just so good, man. So good.
Right. Where would you rank it in favorite movies of all time? If you had to, I mean, I don't know if you have your list on the ready.
I don't have my list on. I mean, like, I have.
Gotta get Letterboxd.
I felt. Yeah, I know. I will. Mary Poppins 100% cracks the top 15.
Okay.
Top 15, 1,000%. It's definitely one of my favorite musical movies because it obviously is a Disney movie, so there's going to be singing all the time. And you have Dick Van Dyke and Julia Andrews in it. How do you not have them sing every freaking minute?
Yeah, it's good. Is that it for news? You got more news?
No, that's it for news. That's it for news.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the main event of the podcast. We like to save the best for last here on the Podracer podcast.
It's time! Sorry. I'm hyped.
Oh, wow.
I'm hyped. I'm
You're
so hyped. I love this.
We're going to be ranking every single Star Wars project.
Rank them.
So there are 11 movies, 11 TV shows.
That makes 22, son.
22. Yes. Good math, Noah.
I can do math.
Good math.
Thanks.
You are really hyped. Wow. I love it.
Everyone that knows me knows there's nothing more that I love than Star Wars. So
Same.
like,
it's half my personality.
It is 1,000% my personality. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 Star Wars tattoos on my body. Definitely going to be getting a lot more. It's not enough.
Yeah. I only have the one that we have together, but that's because this entire arm is blank and it will be an entire Star Wars sleeve. So I don't want to fill this arm too much with Star Wars because I already got an entire arm designated for it.
I like it. Hell, I love it. That sounds like a great idea.
I got a great idea for it too. I don't want to spoil it till I have it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Anyways, 22 projects. We're going to be doing our entire full ranking of Star Wars. Was this hard for you? This was really hard for me.
Very. Like, it started off easy because I was like, oh, I'll throw this, wait. And then I thought about it. And I thought about it, I think, a little too long because I have scratched out so many and rearranged them because I had to really think of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
No, I ranked my movies first, and then I was just plugging the TV shows in where I thought they were better.
Okay.
And it was really tough because I have never compared the shows to the movies in a ranking situation like this.
Okay.
And so it was incredibly hard for me. I feel like a lot of these could flip-flop for me.
Okay.
But yeah,
man.
I feel like we're gonna have very different lists too.
I think so too because
when it comes to the shows.
Yes, 1,000% for the shows. You're probably gonna be disappointed where I have some things, but
yeah,
Oh
no,
well.
I'm pretty sure our movie rankings are very similar, but I think when we plug the shows in, that's where we're gonna be very different. So
we'll see. Let's see. Let's find
All right,
out.
Here is our official Star Wars project ranking from the bottom, number 22. What do you have?
The Acolyte.
Really? Okay.
Acolyte is the worst. God, why that show was even made, I didn't ask for it. And even when it came out, I still didn't care for it. Yes, there might be cool lightsaber battles. Yes, there might be a dude that has nice arms in it that people like. I don't care. It sucked.
Fair.
It's 22.
Okay. Yeah. No, my 22 is The Last Jedi.
Whew. Wow.
I think this movie's such a stinker. I don't love anything about it. I think Snoke is an incredibly boring villain. He had potential from The Force Awakens, and then we see him in The Last Jedi, and he immediately dies.
Yep.
And it's just it's pathetic.
Yep.
I don't know what it is about Adam Driver. I just really don't love him as an actor.
Yeah.
I really hate what they do with Finn in this movie because he had such an interesting, like, build-up in The Force Awakens, and I just feel like the momentum is killed. Okay, 21, I have the Acolyte there.
That's so funny because 21, I have Last Jedi.
That's hilarious.
That is very funny.
Yeah,
That's
same thing with the
awesome.
Acolyte. Like, the only thing that put it over the Last Jedi for me is that lightsaber scene in episode 5. What a stinker show.
Ugh.
It had so much potential.
Sure.
Stinker.
Snake.
Why do you have Last Jedi Solo?
Pretty much for the same reasons. I am a huge Luke Skywalker fanboy, so obviously him being in this movie a lot, like, really disappointed me because he did not act how Luke should have acted at all. And even Mark Hamill has said himself, like, I will do this, Luke, because it's your story, but, like, this is not how Luke Skywalker would do. 20. I have the first animated show on the list for me,
Okay.
Tales of the Empire.
Okay.
I
right.
did not enjoy the show as much as I thought I would. I like Morgan Elsbeth, and I really like General Grievous in it, yes. But the story was boring. I don't think it added anything that we needed to see coming off of the heels of Tales of the Jedi. Like, it just flopped super hard because there was no real story.
Yeah, because I 100% agree. My number 20 is The Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
Again, just these sequels. I mean, that one, the fact that the Emperor Palpatine returns just kills this movie entirely.
Yeah.
Just like, why? You know, you had Snoke as this villain, and then he died or Kylo Ren killed him. Like, it would have been so interesting just to have Kylo Ren as the villain.
Yeah.
And then toy with, like, coming to the light side or the dark side.
Yeah.
And I feel like they kind of almost ruin canon with this movie by, I feel like it almost, like, doesn't make Anakin the chosen one, and I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Because from episode 1 through episode 6, he is the chosen one.
He still is.
He brought balance to the Force.
Amen.
You know, and it's just like it really pisses me off. I feel like it completely, like, contradicts anything that happens in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's just so bad. And then they really just, like, kill Finn's character more. It's like the nail in the coffin.
It's really bad.
Finn had such an interesting potential to him. And, like, the whole back and forth of, like, I need to tell you something. And it's like, is he going to tell you he's got feelings for you? Is he going to tell you he's Force sensitive? And the fact that we had to be told in an interview after the movie came out that he was trying to say he was Force sensitive. Why not just say that in the goddamn movie?
I mean, we kind of got it. Like, he was like, oh, how do you know that it's over there? He goes, a feeling. It's like, okay.
All right, so my 19, I have Tales of the Empire.
You need to shut up right now.
Are we reversed again?
Because I have Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very
That's
glad
awesome.
that we are close and similar when it comes to the
We're
bottom.
on the same page.
Because I feel the further we go up, we're going to start seeing differences.
100%.
100%.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
I totally agree.
with you.
Same reasons. Totally agree.
The only thing I want to say about the Tales of the Empire is, like, the only interesting thing about that was Barriss Offee, because you see what she does in Clone Wars. And then, like, I was so excited for that. And yeah, it's cool to know what happened after, but I feel like it was still boring. It was so boring.
Number
Anyways.
18. Jordyn, this might upset you, I think. But
boy.
you got to understand, I was not really interested in this show even, like, being out. And I didn't really watch all of it until it was fully premiered and done. My next one is The Bad Batch.
Okay, that's not what I thought you were gonna say, but that's still a bad take.
I
Okay, why? Why is it so low?
So when Clone Wars ended, I was so like ready for like the Clone Wars like that whole age to just be done. But like I just was not interested on Bad Batch. Like I tried to I watched like the first 2 episodes when it premiered, and it just was not rolling with it at all. Like I know that it's everything that Clone Wars was. Like, oh, if you love Clone Wars, you should like Bad Batch. I don't think that's the case.
It's different.
They kind of go off in a direction that I don't think really needs to be told, but I understand why they did, and I just wasn't a fan of it.
Number 18 for me is the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
I love Boba Fett as a character.
Oh, yeah.
I think the first couple of episodes, like with him and the Tusken Raiders, are great.
Oh, yeah.
And then the rest of the show is pretty boring. I love the Mandalorian and Grogu episode. That's
probably the best episode.
But why was that in Book of Boba Fett?
Because
I hate that they stole an entire episode. Like, it's just... And then for people who didn't watch Book of Boba Fett and they watched The Mandalorian, because let's be honest, The Mandalorian is probably one of the best live-action Star Wars shows. In between season 2 and 3, you have no idea how Grogu got back with Mando. And you got to watch this entire other show to connect it. It's really weird, and I felt like it like disrupted the flow, so that's also a part of why it's so low, just from a TV structure perspective. It messes with my OCD, and I don't like it. And I think Boba Fett's story could have been so much cooler than it was.
I totally agree, because my 17 is Book of Boba Fett, and I also heavily agree with seeing how Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit was amazing. That and Mando's part is 100% the best part in the entire show. They had the probably one of the worst speeder bike chases in all of Star Wars.
That speeder bike pisses me off. It pisses me off, I think, more than the whole Leia scene in Obi-Wan, which we'll get to that when we get to Obi-Wan.
Oh my god.
But
it's so bad.
That speeder scene irritates the living shit out of me.
Those 4 punk rock kids serve no purpose.
Yeah. My 17 is Solo. I remember when this movie was coming out, I was really scared for it because Harrison Ford is the only Han Solo in my mind. And then, like, the fact that he had a different love interest was, like, obviously he didn't know Leia at that point, but...
Ooh.
And then a reason this is so low, I do think it's a good movie,
man,
but the reason this is so low is it's one of those Star Wars projects where they throw in a cameo at the end, and it gets you hype, and then it's dead in the water.
Yeah.
It's the Acolyte, but better. Like, it's... seeing live action Darth Maul was so cool, and then the fact that like any sort of continuation of that was just scrapped, it's so sad. I love Emilia Clarke. Like, is that her name, Amelia?
Yep, Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke. Yeah, I loved her character, and like that betrayal was a fun twist. I think it would have been cool to see her doing shit with Maul, but we just didn't get that, and it just died, and it's not, like, up there with some of these other projects in my mind, so that's why it's so low. All right, so 16, I got The Force Awakens.
Okay.
The fact that this is so low is it's a carbon copy of A New Hope.
Yeah.
The hype around this movie when it came out was, like, amazing. It was peak. Star Wars was coming back, and again, like... Finn's character is super interesting. Poe is a really fun rebel-type pilot. Rey is an interesting... You have Kylo as an interesting villain with this kind of like Snoke, who's the new Palpatine, whatever. It had a lot of great potential.
Literally everything that you're saying, not only do I 1,000% agree with you, but it's the same reason why I have Force Awakens next on my list too. Because...
You have it at 17? Or 16?
16, Force Awakens... I was thinking putting a different movie like below it, but I had to swap it because everything that Force Awakens sets up in any decent way never goes anything forward, and that's just disappointing. All right, so for number 15, and this might get, ruffles some feathers.
Oh, boy.
15, I'm putting Rebels. Go ahead and be shocked, Jordyn. I don't care. Let me talk to you. So, Rebels, when it came out, was coming out after the hot success of the Clone Wars just kind of stopping. It's Disney's first attempt at pretty much the Clone Wars successor, which, by the way, it does not live up to the Clone Wars at all. The animation style is bad. The music is bad. The only good times that the show has ever been good is Thrawn, Kanan Jarrus, and a little bit of Ezra. A little bit of Ezra and Sabine's also there and cool, blah, 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 blah. And, of course, we can't forget the whole Anakin Ahsoka thing. Honestly, like, all that happened, yes. It does not change the fact that that show was kind of all over the place, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it that much. But, obviously, it had its moments, and I will give it that. But I just didn't enjoy it that much. Go ahead. Go ahead. What's your number 15? Go ahead.
That is your 15?
Number 15 out of 22. Number 15, Rebels. A cartoon show that kind of makes me cringe every time I look at the style of it because I wish it was Clone Wars. Oh. And the music I wish was so much better. But it's not.
Oh.
So. Clone Wars is so great. Trying to have Rebels become the successor of it was like putting up a little leaguer, a T-baller against a major league hitter. It is no shot. No shot. But that's what they try to do. No. And it contradicted itself constantly. It was kind of messy, and I didn't enjoy it. Sue me.
I'm too stunned to speak. I love every single character. I love every single relationship. I love every single development in this show. I'll give you, in season 1, there's a lot of filler. It's a lot of, like, laying the groundwork, just, Rebels doing Rebel things. But this story, and I'll give it to you too, the animation is not good. I think if the animation was identical to the Clone Wars animation, this is a top 3 Star Wars project for me. The story
that's still insane.
Is so good. Kanan Jarrus is my second favorite character in Star Wars.
Second?
Yes. It goes Anakin,
That's
it goes
insane.
Kanan.
That is insane.
No, I love him more than anything. And I just,
wow.
I can't believe that this is your 15. That's
number 15 is Rebels. I really, really, really wish the Inquisitors were not so stupid. And I really, really wish that Chopper had its own show. Because I would watch that show any day of the week. Trust me. I love me some Chopper. And in the Ahsoka show, which we'll get to, Chopper is one of my favorite things in that entire show. I think that they did Rebels way better in Ahsoka than they even did in the show. And I will 100% stand by that. 100% stand by that.
You have to stop talking because I will never film a podcast episode with you ever again. That's
what you said with Civil War and Endgame, but here we are, all right?
Yeah, and it's like
two episodes later.
This ranking might be the end of us, Noah. Wow.
Look,
I don't even know what to argue right now because you've never been more wrong in your entire life.
That's okay. Because this is my opinion. This is my ranks. And I'm going to hear Rebels at your ranks, and you're obviously going to yell at me, and that's going to be it.
Wow. Okay.
So what is your number 15, Jordyn?
My number 15 is kicking you in the face. My number 15 is... I'm like legit like mind blown. Holy moly. My 15 is Tales of the Jedi. Great little mini animated series.
Way better than Rebels.
You got to stop. You gotta stop or I'm going to climb through this camera and just beat the living shit out of you. I swear to God I'll make it happen. Tales of the Jedi is my number 15. Great story. I loved finally seeing some backstory on Dooku. You know, seeing Ahsoka's kind of like upbringing and seeing her like train in like really like practicing like the Jedi arts before like the war really kicked off and before she just kind of became a soldier was really cool.
Right.
Seeing young Qui-Gon was incredible. It's just
Loved young Qui-Gon.
it was just a banger, and the reason it's so low is just because I feel like everything else it really contributes to the story, and this is just honestly just like a nice little sprinkle of here's a little bit of extra on these characters you already know and love. So that's why
Let me just slide in to my number 14 because I also have Tales of the Jedi.
Okay.
Right there.
Nice.
I've been waiting to hear more backstory on Dooku, and when I first found out, like when I was younger, that Dooku trained Qui-Gon, I was like, I wish I would have seen more of that, because obviously in Attack of the Clones he brings it up, but like you don't see like Dooku's transformation to the dark side for him to become Lord Tyrannus. You don't see any of that. You know, like now that we finally got it, and dude, the writing is so well.
My 14 is Attack of the Clones. This movie holds a lot of nostalgia for me. I know growing up, this used to be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Just because, like, seeing the clones and seeing the whole Battle of Geonosis, and you know I'm a big romance gal, so, like, seeing Anakin and Padme's, like, relationship actually start and the forbidden love, like, I loved that. I ate that up. The whole Camino arc is amazing. Jango Fett is amazing. So I hold a lot of just nostalgia with Attack of the Clones, but the more and more I watch it, the more I realize kind of how cringe it is. So I really try to avoid rewatching this movie because I just think it'll make me dislike it more.
Number 13 for me is Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's funny. Like I see where we like match our opinions.
Yeah.
Some of them, but
yeah, Rebels is way too low.
Okay, I see.
You're telling
Attack
me.
the Clones.
I'm sorry to cut you off. You're telling me
Okay,
Attack of the Clones is
gosh.
better than Rebels. You're telling me that right now?
For me, yes.
That's crazy. Okay.
Because it's a show compared to a movie. It's hard to compare a show to a movie because obviously a show's gonna have more of an arc.
That's fair.
Because they have a longer story to tell.
That's fair.
In a movie, it's so much different.
You get a point there. That's fair. All right, continue. Sorry to cut you off. Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones, oh gosh, it's super cringy.
It's very
so
cringy.
like the writing is so bad in this one for some reason. Like the first one is like weird, the second one is just bad, and the third one they got it right at that point.
Yeah.
George finally figured out something right. But
there's some parts in Revenge of the Sith that are pretty bad too, but yeah, episode 2 is 100% the worst.
It's kind of funny now when you look at it.
I
It's
don't
not
like
like cringy.
sand.
It's more like it's
It's coarse, rough, and it gets everywhere.
click. Like I just skip that part. I just skip it. Like no, and like I love the whole killing Padme thing. Like that is so hilarious to me. Because Palpatine goes to Dooku, who goes to Jango Fett, who goes to some other lady, who then sends a robot, who then sends bugs.
Yeah.
So, dude, like that is so hilariously true.
So funny. Okay, my
Okay.
13 is gonna
13.
be Rogue One.
Whoa!
I know.
Whoa!
This is where it gets
okay,
dicey
you yell
for
at me
me.
about Rebels being low. You yell at me about Rebels being low. Rogue One being that low?
Listen, Rogue One is a
Hoo-wee.
fantastic movie.
Hoo-wee.
It's a fantastic movie.
Man.
I love exactly how it leads up right to A New Hope. You get the epic Vader scene in the hallway. It's just stunning, like, moments, and we get to meet all these new interesting characters, new interesting rebels who are stealing these Death Star plans, seeing, like, the beginning stages of the Death Star and, like, what it can do and, like, what its purpose was incredible. There are a lot of boring moments in this movie for me, though. And I think just because it was the first movie that wasn't really the Skywalker saga, you grow to...
It needed more exposition, I guess.
Yeah, you grow to love these characters and this story. And again, this is like just another little, like, here's a sprinkle of like a side story that you didn't really ask for, but like here it is. And so I think I'm just too invested in the Skywalker saga and those characters and those progressions and things that this is just kind of a bonus thing for me.
For my next one, I'm going with Solo.
Okay.
Solo is very fun. It's a very, very, very fun movie to me. I'm not saying that because I really like Han Solo, but I feel like the character that was playing like Han Solo, he was making his character, like that character, his own.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing like a younger Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But I'm glad that we got to see Gambino as Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, he fits that
Love
role
that.
perfectly.
Love that. I love that we get to see the Kessel Run.
Yeah.
In less than 12 parsecs, which I don't know if it's time or distance. No one will ever tell.
Who knows? So my number 12 is going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. This show had a lot... Where are you going?
Nope.
Where are you going?
Nope. We're done. We're done here. Why you gotta do my boy Obi-Wan like that?
You gonna hear me out?
Okay.
You gonna sit down and join the conversation?
I'm debating on it.
You're gonna put Rebels at 15 and you're gonna get pissed that I put Obi-Wan at 12?
I don't need to hear this. I don't need to hear it.
Sit your ass down.
Okay.
Shut your mouth.
I'm sitting down now because you told me to, but I gotta do it.
Jesus. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a good show. It's got a lot of plot holes, and the only thing that makes that show good is the Obi-Wan Anakin stuff. Reva, I like her. Her story went nowhere. It pissed me off when she got stabbed by Darth Vader and lived. Ain't no way.
Twice.
Twice. Exactly.
Twice.
Are you kidding me?
Twice.
Why in the world do they keep stabbing people with a lightsaber and not killing them? It makes me pissed off that Qui-Gon Jinn is not alive. Because
I'm so upset for Qui-Gon.
It makes
like
zero sense. And I remember when they did this, it's not the first time they do this, and it was just like another one. Like, are you kidding me? And then the fact that it happens twice, like, bro.
And then they also did it to the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah. Like,
he got stabbed and lived.
Oh my god! Like
But he had two stomachs. But like, what? No, you just didn't want to say that he can. Sorry.
Yeah, I just like it. Like things like that in the show are what pissed me off. I love that Hayden Christensen came back, reprised his role. I think he deserved it with all the Revenge of the Sith hate he got. Like, everybody knows, you know this. I am a huge Hayden Christensen stan. I think he plays Anakin perfectly. Anakin is one of my favorite characters. I think Hayden Christensen is incredible, and the fact that he finally comes back and gets the love that he deserves was so heartwarming. I think him and Obi-Wan and seeing kind of like the early stages of Darth Vader and like Obi-Wan learning that he's still alive and all this stuff, because up until this time he thought he killed him on Mustafar. And so then, like, finally accepting that his friend is dead and this evil person in front of him is just another villain. Like, this is not who he knew. That is all great. And then I love that they brought Leia at, like, everyone thought it was going to be young Luke and just him on Tatooine. Yeah. I love that it was a twist and it was Leia. I remember my jaw hitting the floor when she came out. And then it was just... It got kicked off with that stupid forest scene of her running around. I just think that is one of the worst scenes in Star Wars. Like, it makes no sense that these highly trained bounty hunters can't, like, run through a couple of leaves to catch this
I don't think
small
that they were-
girl. Like if
I don't think they were trained bounty hunters because they were led by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I don't think that he trained them very well. So like, homeboy Flea came
they're
in. And
paid
was like,
mercenaries, they should be able to catch a 6-year-old child. That's that. For my 11, this is where I went the Bad Batch. Some of the filler in the Bad Batch is really bad, like in season 3 especially. But the epic moments in this show are truly epic. I remember when we first meet them in the Clone Wars. Omega pissed the shit out of me. Like she bugged me, and then like I really grew to love her and just grew to love this entire like squad and seeing, you know, kind of Order 66 happen, and you know how Crosshair was the one to like actually kind of like go along with it, and like him struggle with that, and then the team struggle with that. But again, I love the Clone Wars animation style. And so it was fun just to see that again.
All right, so for my number 11, I'm going with Andor.
Wow,
Now,
that's low.
I'm super excited for season 2. I feel like Andor started super slow.
100%.
And it really picked up when it got to the prison. Everything when it got to the prison, I feel like that's when the show really got going. And like I've always liked Cassian Andor. I'm very excited to see him and K2SO in season 2 of Andor. So I know for a fact if after season 2 comes out, we revisit this, it might be higher, it might be lower. Depends on how good the season 2 is. So I know that we'll probably revisit this. So yeah, I feel like 11 for Andor. Like, I feel like that's a good spot. It's just below the top 10 for me.
I agree. Actually, I know I was just shocked that was low, but I didn't realize that my number 10 is Andor. I agree with you. Very slow start. Really picked up towards the end. I really loved the ending. Some of the visuals in that show are some of the best visuals, I think, in Star Wars. So I love that. And then, yeah, I think Cassian Andor and KS2O was probably my favorite characters from Rogue One. So seeing Cassian back and then also getting his counterpart in season 2, I'm really excited for.
Which then brings me to my number 10, and that is Return of the Jedi. Gosh, what a movie. Yes, a lot of people probably say that this is the weaker out of the original trilogy. I don't want to say weaker because I still feel like it serves its purpose on telling or finishing the story. Yeah. Did there need to be another Death Star? No. Do I like that there was? 1,000%. I think that the half-made, like almost finished Death Star is probably the coolest look of it.
Yeah, no, I love it.
You got it right there. It's probably one of like the best like visual representations of Star Wars that's out there.
Yeah.
It's one of them. Like when you see it, you're like, yup, I know exactly what movie that's from. I know exactly where that is. And like, come on. The final battle with Luke and Vader and Palpatine, like, come on. That's poetry.
Yeah.
Right there. That's so, it's just too good.
Vader finally restoring balance to the Force.
Real chosen one coming back.
Sure. Yeah.
Number 10.
Yeah, absolutely. My number 9, funny enough, is Return of the Jedi. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Yeah, it is the weaker of the original trilogy for sure. But it's just a great movie, and I feel like it wraps up the Star Wars saga so nicely that I almost wish the sequels didn't even exist because it's just a perfect ending to a perfect franchise.
My number 9, I will say that when you said that, Andor has the best visuals, I agree. But I think one of the best, cinematography, just cinematic movie, the cinematography in this movie is amazing. It's Rogue One. Yeah. That's where I put Rogue One. Rogue One, to me, is a number 9. It's shot so well, and I feel like every shot on, for that movie was done with a great purpose. Yeah. You have probably one of the best endings to a Star Wars movie with just Vader just tearing up fools left, right, and center, which a lot of people say needed to be there to save the movie. I don't think it did, but I love that it connected it. I do not like that they brought CGI Grand Moff Tarkin and CGI Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
I don't really like that, All right, Jordyn, you want to go on your number 8?
Yeah, my number 8 is gonna be The Phantom Menace. It's just it's another movie that's like, it's not the greatest start to the prequel trilogy. It is a banger. It's definitely not the weakest of the prequel trilogy.
Nope.
I have a lot of, again, nostalgia with this movie. The pod racing, just Qui-Gon in general, Darth Maul's introduction, seeing kind of Obi-Wan in that younger Padawan role. I'm a big Jar Jar fan. I actually love Jar Jar Binks. I think the hate that he got is like really devastating. The hate that Jake...
It's depressing when you hear about it.
The hate that Jake Lloyd got is really depressing.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes me really mad because this was a good movie.
My number 8, I'm throwing Obi-Wan up there.
Okay.
Your boy loves me some Obi-Wan, not because I'm just a fanboy, but I love the story of a PTSD Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with that, and I think that they did that in the show super good. Him constantly calling out, and Qui-Gon's not there, Qui-Gon's not there, Qui-Gon's not there.
Yeah.
Calling out for any sort of help.
Just anything.
Realizing that, okay, I'm going to have to deal with this trauma literally, figuratively, and definitively on my own.
Yeah.
To which he does. And that final fight's great. We got like a couple like small fights where they kind of met, almost didn't. Thinking to see a flashback with them on Coruscant.
Yeah, I forgot about the flashback.
You know, I love me some Coruscant. So seeing all that stuff was great.
My number 7 is going to be Ahsoka.
So is mine.
Is it?
So is mine.
Okay.
Number 7 is Ahsoka. Thank God.
No, Ahsoka's great. I love her character. I think Rosario Dawson plays a perfect live-action Ahsoka as much as I would love.
Can't agree more.
Yeah, she's so good. I just, the mature side of Ahsoka, I love seeing that. And then, as we established earlier, I'm a big Rebels fan. This is basically season 5 of Rebels, which is so fun.
Pretty much.
Seeing kind of Ahsoka be Sabine's master now was awesome. Just all the different Rebels callbacks, you know, seeing the hyperspace whales again was incredible. And then
I freaked out when I saw those.
Getting to Thrawn and Ezra again, like that was such a huge cliffhanger at the end of Rebels. Like that was so cool to see that like finally realized.
I hate that we're gonna have to recast Rey.
Yeah.
And he like, gosh, he was so definitive as that character. Like he really brought that character to life.
He did.
And then like showing him or showing Shin that, hey, we are in a whole new universe. I'm going to go on my own to self-discovery. You're going to have to do your own as well.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was I thought that was done so well. And then let's obviously not forget about your boy, Hayden.
Yes, I was just going to get to that. Oh.
Probably...
We watched these episodes together on FaceTime.
We did.
Because obviously, I think it's episode 4 where it ends and she's in...
With him.
Yeah, she's...
World Between
Worlds,
Worlds,
in the World Between Worlds, and Hayden just, like, basically is there, and she's like, what the hell? And then I remember the next episode, we're like, we have to watch this at the same time. And so we did.
100%. We did, and it was the best. It was probably one of the best episodes of Star Wars ever.
It was so good.
So good.
And I know a lot of people thought it was fan service and they didn't love the Clone Wars like flashbacks. I loved them.
My number 6, almost getting into the top 5. Yeah. I low-key want to put it in the top 5 just because I love it so much, but I'm not going to. I'm going to put it number 6. It's The Phantom Menace. Okay. Now,
banger.
Don't know about you, but the only Star Wars movie that I was able to see in theaters up until the sequels came out was only Phantom Menace. I didn't see it when it first came out because I wasn't even born when it came out.
The rewatch or the remaster?
I got to see it when they released it in theaters. I believe it was for the 15th anniversary because I was, or Yeah, I believe it was the 15th anniversary. They brought it back into theaters, and like I went. It was me and my dad. We went, and like the first thing, like because me and my dad, we were big NASCAR guys.
Yeah.
We are all about like racing, and of course, like lightsaber battles. We're all in for it. I was like, oh yeah, like I've talked to him about Phantom Menace. He didn't really care for it, but when he was like, "You want to go?" I was like,
Yeah.
Why?" He goes, "Dude, lightsabers and pod racing on the big screen. Let's go!"
Okay.
And that was the first time I got to see a Star Wars in the theater.
Yeah.
And man, like that memory stuck by me.
No, that is
Okay.
so cool. You got to see that with your dad. I really love that.
Oh gosh, love that. That was amazing.
I remember when that came out, and I think it was like in 3D, and it was like super exciting, and it was like the big
we got to
thing.
see it in 3D.
Yeah.
It was in the big theater. So the surround sound was awesome. And of course the pod racers are going, and we're just like boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Heck yeah.
It was fire.
Heck yeah.
Fire.
Yep. No, my number 6 is Rebels. Kick rocks. It's an incredible show. The only flaw is the animation, and some of the filler is a little too much. But other than that, this is a perfect show. It has perfect characters. It has a perfect story. It has perfect relationships. And some of these arcs are so cool. The Sith arc with the whole like Sith temple and Ezra and Darth Maul and Kanan and then Ahsoka and then Vader shows up.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Why did they have Inquisitors fly off like helicopters?
Because they can.
Because it was stupid.
No.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry for the audio
You're
listeners out there.
stupid.
That probably sucked.
So, anyways, great show.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
Rolling
top 5,
into
Jordyn.
top 5.
Top 5, Jordyn. This is...
Let's say it at the same time. I feel like we
Okay.
might have the same top 5, except maybe one thing. One thing might be different.
I feel like maybe 1 or 2 is going to be different in our top 5, but I feel like our top
Well,
5s, I believe, are all the same.
I know for sure we have 2 things flipped, but
1,000%. I
Okay.
already know what you're talking about. Yeah.
okay. Ready?
Okay. Number 5.
3,
2,
2, 1. The
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Banger. Such a good show.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
So good.
How do you not like Mando, dude?
It's so good.
Mando. Yes, I'm talking about you, homeboy. Get over here.
Oh my
We're
god.
chilling. Me and Mando, we be chilling, all right? Look, Mandalorian is not only like one of the best things going on with Star Wars TV, but man, oh man, does it get good. I'm telling them, it is just getting better. I will admit, season 3 takes a change because I
100%.
see where they're going for it. What?
I can't take you seriously. Holding him right now, talking to him like he's there.
He is here.
Oh, you're hilarious.
Thanks. Look, Mandalorian and Din Grogu right here. Their story is probably the second best father-son story in Star Wars.
So good.
Fight me if you think it's not number 2. Because we all know who number 1 is, but we don't got to get to it.
Yeah.
This dude right here, this guy, good old Pedro Pascal himself. There's no one better.
No one
God,
better.
there's no one better.
He's perfect, Mando.
It is the best live action show Star Wars has ever done, ever will do, and Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are probably
Chef. They're chefs.
Oh God, they cook.
They're
they
5-star
clean,
chefs.
And most importantly, they do cool stuff on Tatooine. I don't know. I was trying to rhyme. Look, this show is so good. I love this show. I have a whole shelf dedicated to the first 3 seasons of The Mandalorian just because how much I love this show. And like, this is the way, man.
This is the way. It's just such a good show. I cannot wait for the movie. I'm so excited.
I'm so hyped for it.
That's going to be
So
such a
hyped
main
for it.
event for us on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
2026
Get
came
ready
faster.
for the 2-hour-long episode when we bring to you the Podracer podcast review of The Mandalorian and Grogu. Number 4, Sutton. Number 4,
All right.
Clone Wars.
Yeah. Nope, this is where our list is different.
Clone Wars.
Mine is Empire.
Whew.
I know,
Okay.
because that's your second favorite movie, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Empire at 4? Okay. So Clone Wars, what can I say that hasn't already been said about Clone Wars?
So good.
It is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
So my number 4, Empire Strikes Back. Perfect movie. It's such a
Empire,
good movie.
perfect.
Yep. I'll just already get into my third one. It's just I love A New Hope and then Empire. They're perfect movies together.
That's very fair.
A New Hope is one of the first Star Wars movies I ever saw. So it's just they just fit perfectly, and that's why I always rank them like that, just because to me they're both just that good. They could flip-flop either way. Just I like them together in that sequence a lot better. Like you always say, anytime you watch A New Hope, you immediately want to watch
immediately
Empire right after.
It's hard not to. It's very hard not to.
That's just why A New Hope is a little bit higher, because it's a lot of nostalgia. It's the start of Star Wars. It's just a perfect movie.
It's just a perfect movie, and that's your number 4 and your number 3.
Number 3, yeah.
My number 3. It's Revenge of the Sith.
Wow.
Number 3. Don't get me wrong. Revenge of the Sith is amazing. But the only reason why I have Revenge of the Sith there is because of what I was saying earlier. I'm just going to throw this out there. My 2 and my 1 is A New Hope and Empire. Because they are just so good. And honestly, I flip-flop all the time on what I like more. New Hope or Empire. Those always switch. But Revenge of the Sith always stays there. It's always there for me. And
that's fair.
It's just so, I don't know, like those movies are just so like
they're
nostalgic.
Just so good. We could talk about them for hours.
We already have.
We're going long in this episode,
so we gotta
wrap it up.
Let's wrap it.
Yeah, mine's the same way. My 3 and 4 is A New Hope, Empire. Those can flip flop all day. But my constant is Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie of all time.
Fair.
But that is sitting at the number 2 spot for me because I think Clone Wars is the greatest piece of Star Wars ever made. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau changed my life. I know there's a lot of filler in that show that's kind of blah.
Supposed to be filler, you know.
It's a cartoon. It is a kid show. It was a Cartoon Network show. So that's gonna happen. But once you get to the actual storyline of it and the arcs in that show, holy shit, I could talk about that forever. It is just so good. It for real changed my life. I remember coming home from school. I used to have to walk home from school, so I would walk as fast as I can when I knew it was coming on. I would turn it on, and I would pretend to do my homework while watching it. It just
like
incredible.
Like a true kid.
Yeah, it's such a good show. It expands on the prequels so much. I think a lot of the people that maybe hated the prequels and now like them is probably because of this show. It just introduces Ahsoka, which opens so many doors. It's such a great show. And, you know, I'm a huge Anakin fan. So, like, seeing a good version of Anakin and not George Lucas's clunky, cringy type of dialogue Anakin.
Yeah.
It's great to see. It really expands on Revenge of the Sith. And it contributes to Revenge of the Sith being my favorite movie of all time. So
Valid.
Yeah, so 1, Clone Wars, 2, Revenge of the Sith, 3, A New Hope, 4, Empire, 5, Mandalorian, 6, Rebels, 7, Ahsoka, 8, The Phantom Menace, 9, Return of the Jedi, 10, Andor, 11, The Bad Batch, 12, Obi-Wan Kenobi, 13, Rogue One, 14, Attack of the Clones, 15, Tales of Jedi, 16, Force Awakens, 17, Solo, 18, Boba Fett, 19, Tales of the Empire, 20, Rise of Skywalker, 21, Acolyte, and 22, The Last Jedi. That is my Star Wars ranking.
And a partridge in a pear tree. My goodness. From number 1 to 22, Empire,
Run it.
New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, Clone Wars, Mando, Phantom Menace, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Rogue One, Return of the Jedi, Andor, Solo, Tales of the Jedi, Attack of the Clones, Rebels, suck it, Book of Boba Fett, Rise of Skywalker, Bad Batch, Tales of the Empire, Last Jedi, Acolyte.
Put Rebels higher, you piece of shit. There you go.
Damn.